Podcast.io.
Hello and welcome to my channel. CJ Rocks 87 here, and I have another build video for you today. I'm going over the Gauss Minigun. And this is a bloodied build, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can still be low health, deal massive damage, and still being able to survive. This is it. This is my bloodied Gauss Minigun. And the most important effect, of course, is the bloodied effect. While we're low health, our damage is going to increase up to 95% as our health decreases. The second star I have is 25% damage while aiming. Now I was going for faster fire rate here, however I ran out of modules when I was rolling, and this is the best one I could get. So plus 25% damage while aiming is definitely a good second star to get. But I would definitely recommend that faster fire rate. The third star I have is irrelevant for my build. I don't use VATS, so this is worthless for me. If you are rolling for this gun, I would recommend either 90% reduced weight or 50% break slower. And the mods that I am using for this build is the pentabarrel. Now, the other mods for this gun is going to be the tri-barrel and the standard barrel. The pentabarrel has the highest fire rate out of all of them. It does lose a little bit of damage, and at first I thought it would not be worth to run this. However, that loss of damage is very not noticeable. You don't notice it at all, and it still outperforms the other barrels with its fire rate. So I would definitely recommend the pentabarrel. And the capacitor that I recommend for this build is going to be the Tesla coil capacitor. The prime barrel simply isn't worth it anymore. It does the same damage as the Tesla coil capacitor, except you have to farm for flux, and crimson flux can be very difficult to farm for. It's only in certain areas of the map. And the Tesla coil capacitor, you only need regular 2mm electronic rounds, so yeah, that's definitely the better option. I just want to let you guys know that this ammo is extremely heavy. You can't carry very much of it on you at all, and you will be going through it very quickly. So you'll be going through lots of lead. It does require a lot of lead. It uses a lot of lead to craft this ammo. And compared to other weapons, you won't be making as much ammo compared to, let's say, a 50 cal machine gun. So just be aware of that. And last mod I'm using is the gunner sights. This is the only mod slot to use here, and the gunner sights make it easier to shoot. So I recommend that one. Alright, and the armor I'm using is a full set of Union power armor. And the reason I'm using the Union set is simply for the poison resistance and the extra carry weight. You get 75 carry weight and 150 poison resistance with this set. Now, I was lucky enough to get this on the scoreboard. However, if you were not and you have to grind for stamps and don't want to grind for the Union set, the other two sets I would recommend is either going to be the T65 or the Hellcat. The Hellcat is going to give you increased ballistic damage reduction, so that's definitely a good option. And then the T65 is just going to be an overall good set to provide balanced damage reduction for all stats. And the the legendary effect I'm using on my power armor is the Overeater's effect, and that increases damage reduction up to 6% as you fill your hunger and thirst meters. And if you get that on 5 pieces of power armor, you will have 30% damage reduction, and that is very powerful. That is what I recommend for this build. The other 2 stars are not important. I would just recommend getting that Overeater's effect. Now, the power armor mods that I'm using for my build, on the legs I'm using the calibrated shocks, and that's to increase my carry weight capacity. And then on my chest I am using emergency protocols. This is the most important mod for your power armor for this build, as we are a bloodied build, so we will be at low health, and we will be taking 50% damage taken and 25% movement speed when our health is below 20%. This is very powerful. This is what enables us to survive damage at low health. So for this build, this is the first mod I would recommend you get, is Emergency Protocols, because without this mod you will not be able to run a bloody build. The arms, you don't really need to worry about the power armor slot on the mod slot on the arms. I'm currently using Tesla bracers. That's simply because I was trying out a unarmed Tesla bracer build. If you do want to put a mod on here, I would recommend optimized bracers. That's going to reduce action point costs on melee weapons. I use an auto axe for certain events like daily ops where you have to kill enemies with a melee weapon, and I'll use an auto axe for that, and optimized bracers will reduce the AP cost on that. So that is what I would recommend for the arms. Alright, and lastly on the helmet, I am using targeting HUD. That's simply just to light up enemies so I can see them better. If there's a different mod you want to use here, feel free to do so. And I'm using Taggerty's Thunder Paint on my power armor, and I think it does look and make it pretty nice. Okay, and these are the base specials I have for the build. We have 10 in Strength, 3 in Perception, 8 in Endurance, 4 in Charisma, 15 in Intelligence, 7 in Agility, and 9 in Luck. And this is before Legendary Special Perks, so this is what you will need to start out your build. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go over the Legendary Perk cards first. Alright, I have 4 maxed out special cards: Legendary Luck, Legendary Endurance, Legendary Strength, and Legendary Agility. It's not too important which ones you get here, as long as you get 4 specials maxed out. The only one I would recommend you not max out would be Charisma, as if you max out that one, I only use 4 Charisma for this build, so if you max out the Charisma card, you'll actually be able, the minimum Charisma you will be able to have is 5, so I wouldn't really recommend that. Other than that, you can pick any other 4 that you would want to max out, and that'll give you 20 extra special points to work with. And the next mod I'm going to recommend is Electric Absorption. This is a very strong mod. Every time you take energy damage, it's going to charge your fusion core and restore your health. I wouldn't recommend maxing this one out first. I would definitely recommend maxing out the special cards first. This one is very strong even at rank 1. The last one I'm using is Master Infiltrator. I like to launch nukes a lot, and I like to bypass repairing the pipes, and this enables me to do so. And it also enables me to explore the world and unlock anything I want. So that's what I prefer to use. If you're not using the Union Power Armor set, what I would recommend, what I would recommend is going to be the Funky Duds. Since you're not getting poison resistance, you will need this if you're not running the Union Power Armor set. Okay, now let's go ahead and go over the regular perks for the build. The first one is Strength. We have 15 in Strength, and I have maxed out Traveling Pharmacy. The weight of all chems are reduced by 90%. I carry a lot of stim packs and chems, and this is mandatory for my build. I have maxed out Master Heavy Gunner, and Expert Heavy Gunner, and that is simply to max out damage for the build. Last one in Strength I have is Blocker maxed out, which will take 45% less damage from your opponent's melee attacks. This is a very good tanking perk for the build, and I find it's required. If you don't take it, you can go down to goals slapping you and stuff like that, so definitely take this one. Next one I have is Perception. We have 3 in Perception. I have Green Thumb. This is mainly so every time I walk by something I can pick it up. You don't have to have this here. Really, you only need 2 in Perception. If you do want to run this, you can, but yeah, this is totally a quality of life. Next one I have is Grenadier maxed out. Your explosives detonate with twice the radius. Grenadier works with Gauss weapons, where it will increase the explosive effect of the weapon. I will show that off later on. But yeah, this is a very strong card with Gauss weapons now. It doesn't increase damage, but it does increase the radius of your explosion of your weapon, and that's very awesome. The next one I have is Endurance. We have 13 Endurance, and I have Life Giver maxed out, and that'll give us 45 to your maximum health. Now, you may think this one is a little weird to have on a bloodied build. However, when you add to your maximum health, you're also adding to that 20% health that you have to be under, that 20% threshold to stay in that bloodied range. And when you increase your max health, that 20% health also becomes larger as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend boosting up that health to get up your health a bit higher. The next one I'm using is Chem Fiend, and that's so I can my chems will last 100% longer. So I am using Psycho Buffs for this build, so my Psycho Buffs will last 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes. Next I'm using Maxed Out Fireproof, so I can take 45% less damage from explosions and flame attacks. Next one I'm using is Radical. Greater rads, the greater your strength, max +5 to strength. Since I am a bloodied build, this gives us extra 5 strength to the build, so I definitely recommend for only 1 point. Next one I'm using is Rejuvenated. You gain even better benefits from being fully fed and fully hydrated. And since I am using the Overeaters effect on my power armor, I will be keeping my hunger and thirst meters fully fed at all times, and this will give us better benefits for that, higher health, and better AP regen. Alright, next one I have is Foreign Charisma, and that's so I can have Maxed Out Tenderizer. Make your target receive 10% more damage for 10 seconds after you attack. This is very good against stronger enemies like bosses, like Scorched Beast Queen, and going against Earl. So I definitely recommend this one. Next one is Strange in Numbers. Positive mutation effects are 25% stronger if teammates are mutated too. Since I always like to be on a team, and I am mutated, this gives us free benefits every time we're on a team with at least one other person. But they also have to be mutated as well. Please bear that in mind. So if you're on a team with some low levels and they're not mutated, you won't get this effect. Next one I'm using is Intelligence, and I have 15 in Intelligence, and that's so we can have Nerd Rage maxed out. And since I am a bloody build, while below 20% health, we gain 40 damage resist, 20% damage, and 15% AP regen. Next one I'm using is Maxed Out Stabilized. In Power Armor, heavy guns gain excellent armor. Gain excellent accuracy and ignore 45% armor. And since we are in Power Armor using heavy guns, this one's a no-brainer to use. It gives us very strong effects. The next one I'm using is Demolition Expert maxed out. Your explosives do 60% damage, and the Gauss weapon is considered an explosive gun, so this will increase the damage on our gun. Next one I'm using is Scrapper. This is just a quality of life perk for me. I am constantly scrapping weapons and armor, so I don't like to keep taking it off and removing it and putting it back on. If you don't have enough points for this on your build, you can go ahead and leave it out. Lastly, I'm using Batteries Included. This is so our energy weapon weighs 90% less. The Gauss weapon ammo is very heavy, so this is very much needed, and it'll also reduce the weight of your fusion cores for your power armor as well. Alright, the next one I'm going to go over is Agility. I have 12 in Agility, and that's so I can have maxed out Through Hiker. Food and drink weights are reduced by 90%. I carry a lot of food and drink, so I find this very mandatory. If you don't have enough room on your build for this one, feel free to leave this one out. Next I'm using Born Survivor. Falling below 20% health will automatically use a stim pack once every 20 seconds. And this is for those instances where we're taking a lot of damage and we just are not able to use the stim pack, so this will help our survivability. Next I'm using Maxed Out Adrenaline. Gain 10% max 60% damage for 30 seconds per kill. Duration refreshes with kills, and this is a very mandatory damage perk for the build. I recommend this for every build you do. Lastly, I'm using Dodgy. Avoid 30% of incoming damage at the cost of 30 action points per hit. This is so we can increase our survivability. Alright, lastly, I have 14 in luck. That's so I can have maxed out Bloody Mess. 15% bonus damage means enemies may explode in a gory red paste. This is just extra damage. Next, I'm using Class Freak. The negative effects of your mutations are reduced by 75%, and I am using a lot of mutations on this build, and if I didn't use this perk, we would be taking a lot of negative effects, so this is definitely mandatory for the build. Next, I'm using Starch Genes. You will never mutate from rads, and Radaway will never cure mutations. Again, since I'm using mutations, this is mandatory for the build. Next, I'm using Good with Salt. Food in your inventory will spoil 90% slower. I use a lot of food buffs, and this is so I don't have to constantly craft them up. If you don't want to use food buffs, you can change this out for One Gun Army. One Gun Army will give you cripple chance on your gun. I just feel I needed Good with Salt more than that card. Lastly, I'm using Ricochet, and that's so I can gain an 18% chance to deflect back some of the enemy's range damage. And that 18% chance does proc on every bullet, so it has a very high chance of proccing, and this will increase your survivability greatly. Definitely recommend this one. Alright, next I'll be going mutations for the build. The first one I'm using is Adrenal Reaction, and since I am a bloodied build, this is a mandatory mutation for the build because it will give us more weapon damage at lower health. We will take a negative 12 to our health stat. Next one I'm using is Bird Bones. It'll give us +4 agility, and it'll reduce our fall speed. This is more of a quality of life mutation. I'm taking this since I am in power armor. You'll get that annoying animation when you jump from a great height. This kind of minimizes that to a degree. The next one I'm using is Egghead. That'll give us increased intelligence. Right now it's showing +6. With Stranger in Numbers active, that's going to actually be +8. And I'm simply using Egghead just to boost my intelligence to level up faster. The next one I'm using is Herbivore. You eat veggies but not meat with no disease and 2x benefits. This is what I'm using for my food buffs. This is mandatory for the build. Herbivore is very strong for heavy gunners, and I will go over food buffs after this and show you why this one is extremely strong. The next one I'm going over is Herd Mentality. While we're on a team, we're going to get +2 to all of our specials, and I'm always on a team. The next one I'm going over is Marsupial. That'll increase our jump height, our carry weight by +20. This is a very good perk to increase your mobility, and I recommend this for every build in the game. The next one I'm using is Scaly Skin. That'll increase damage and any energy resistance by 50, and this just increases our survivability. Lastly, I'm using Speed Demon. It'll increase movement speed and reload speed, and our hunger and thirst will be +50% while moving. Alright, and lastly, the food buffs. I am using Tato Juice, Brain Fungus Soup, Corn Soup, Glowing Fungus Soup, Silk Bean Soup, and Tato Salad. Now, Tato Juice is going to give us max AP. That gives us more AP so we can sprint with and jump with, and also tank with using Dodgy. Next one, Brain Fungus. This just boosts our intelligence so we can level up quicker. Corn Soup, I'm using this for AP regen. That way, since I do like to run a lot, it's going to regen our AP back very quickly. You don't even need the perk that regens your AP Action Boy. You don't need that with Corn Soup. The next one is glowing fungus. That increases our rad exposure resist. Silt bean soup, that's going to increase our endurance, and then tato salad is going to increase our max health. Tato salad is actually a rare recipe drop from Meat Week, so if you are able to get it, I definitely recommend it, because tato salad is going to be the only way an herbivore can get a max health buff. Now if you're not able to get that recipe, no sweat, you just won't be able to use it. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, that is a very rare recipe, but I do recommend it. Alright, I'm over here at Solomon's Pond, and we're over here near the glowing super mutant behemoth, and we're gonna go ahead and showcase off the strength of the Gauss Minigun. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make sure we are all buffed up. We got all of our food buffs on, and I use psycho buffs for this build, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop that as well. One thing to note, when you're a bloody build, sometimes when you use Psycho Buff, you need something to affect your health to bring it back down. I use Purified Waters. That doesn't irradiate you at all, and it will bring your health back down into bloody range after using Psycho Buff. Alright, let's go ahead and test out the damage. Go ahead and wake him up, and let's go ahead and look at that health bar. Doing some really awesome damage. Look, we barely even hit him and he's already dead. Yeah, this gun is very strong and powerful. Alright, I'm over here at West Tech where the super mutants are, and actually I forgot to go over this earlier. With the Grenadier perk, it does make your explosives detonate with twice the radius. I'm going to go ahead and take that off, show you how the gun fires without that on, just to give you a demonstration. You see it has that little explosion there. Now we're going to go ahead and put Grenadier back on. And as you can see, it massively increases that explosion radius, and that's why I'm using Grenadier. Alright, let's go ahead and take these super mutants on. And we just melted them. As you can see, there is a spin up on this gun, just like the Gatling Plasma. And as you can see, this gun does massive damage. We are just melting these super mutants. And as you can see, with all my perks active, they were shooting at me and I wasn't really taking any damage either. So as you can see, this build is very powerful. Alright, last place I'm at is Max Farm, and that's so we can take down the Mirelurk Queen. I'm going to go ahead and show off the damage. Alright. And as you can see, this gun simply annihilates her. Alright guys, thanks so much for giving my video a watch on the Gauss Minigun. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. This is CJ Rocks 87, and I hope to see you all out in Appalachia. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Artlist.io